June 4th, massive storm hits Washington, D.C. Gust of 75 miles per hour, 500,000 homes without power. By the way, that storm hit at the White House. They had to flee from the White House. Our president, along with Obert, were standing there and they saw it happen. June 6th, the dark day on Wall Street. The Dow's 395-point dropping its biggest one-day point loss in 15 months. Again on June the 6th, oil prices biggest single-day advance in history and skyrocketed to a new record. Again, more storms bring new rounds of destruction to the Midwest United States. And then, of course, Obert returns home to begin the Israeli-Palestinian negotiations under direct orders of the United States. Then Condoleezza Rice travels to Israel and the West Bank on the 7th and 8th. On the 8th, record heat wave hits Washington and the northeast United States. On the 9th, heavy rain floods pound the Midwest. On the 10th, the tomato industry and the complete collapse during the Salamina panic. On the 11th, the Mississippi River floods could be the worst in 15 years. On the 12th, Midwest expecting up to 4 more inches of rain. Towns submerged, crops drowned, rivers still rising, dams are threatened. Cedar Rapids, Iowa, evacuating due to the floods. Flooding hits historic 500-year levels in Iowa. Then from the 5th to the 13th, 37 tornadoes hit U.S. heartland. The United States has recorded now over 1,200 tornadoes so far this year. The death toll from tornadoes in 2008 is already 110. That's almost twice for a whole year. Well, then, of course, just 2 months ago, or actually just a month ago, presidential hopeful Barack Obama was in Jerusalem meeting with Israeli and Palestinian leadership to affirm the Palestinian state. That's the same day that Hurricane Dolly smashed the Texas coast, coming ashore near the South Padre Island, and maximum sustained winds of 100 miles an hour, causing an initial estimate of $750 million in damage, $250 million, or $750 million. 15 counties of Texas declared federal disaster areas. Hurricane Dolly was the 3rd most powerful hurricane to hit the United States in the month of July in recorded history, and is considered to be the most destructive hurricane to impact that area in 41 years. And then, of course, on July the 29th, Condoleezza Rice met with Israeli and Palestinian leaders to work out another peace plan. That very same day, Southern California experienced the largest earthquake in 14 years. A 5.4 magnitude, which is relatively small, was felt from Los Angeles to San Diego and as far as east as Las Vegas, 230 miles away. Kind of coincidence all this stuff has happened like this, isn't it? Well, let me wrap this up now with our last example. On August the 18th, Secretary Rice rescheduled her visit to the Mideast peace talks. She originally had been scheduled to arrive there on August the 20th, but had to change that due to negotiations between Russia and Georgia. She moved the dates down 1 week. By the way, Hurricane Faye made landfall on Florida's Keys late that same afternoon before veering into the Gulf of Mexico. Now watch this, folks. This is bizarre. Faye again made landfall near Naples, Florida, in the early hours of August the 19th. We're just talking just a few days ago. Progressed northeast through the Florida peninsula, emerging into the Atlantic Ocean near Melbourne, Florida on August the 20th. Extensive flooding took place in parts of Florida as a result of the slow movement. Now watch this. Then again, on August the 21st, it re-entered near Daytona Beach, moving due west across the Panhandle, causing Gainesville and Panama City, Florida, crossing Gainesville and Panama City, Florida. As it zigzagged from water to land, now watch this, it became, now watch this, the first storm in recorded history to make landfall in Florida 4 times. President Bush again had to declare Florida a major disaster area. The damage from Faye was quite extreme, but the specific cost of damage is still unknown. Listen to this. But according to Wikipedia, Hurricane Faye was the first storm on record to make landfall 7 times. Oddly, this visit that Condoleezza Rice had just scheduled makes her 7th visit to the Middle East this year. Now, you think that's a coincidence? By the way, while she's over there, y'all remember this now. We're talking just a handful of days ago. She's there again in Jerusalem for 2 days. That was on August the 25th. And there she is, being determined that she's going to be sure that this is going to take place before President Bush gets out of office, because that is his long-lived desire, is to see a two-state party or two-state situation. That's August 25th. The very same day, Tropical Depression 7 develops in the Central Caribbean, which became Hurricane Gustav, which, by the way, means the staff of the gods, projected to move into the Gulf Coast as a possible Category 4 hurricane. Go home tonight, turn on your radio, or turn on your TV and watch it. Watch what they're saying, folks. You know what they're saying? New Orleans residents are right now leaving the city under a mandatory evacuation notice. The National Hurricane Center issued its warning for the coastal area. And by the way, folks, here's what's interesting. How odd that while the U.S. is trying to force Israel's West Bank to evacuate, the New Orleans mayor, Ray Nagin, has ordered a mandatory evacuation of the city's West Bank in preparation for what he called the mother of all storms. Go home tonight and watch this on your news. Watch this and ask yourself a question. Why is it that this storm developed within 24 hours when we said America is going to cause Israel to get out of the West Bank? Now, I don't know about you folks, but I kind of believe when God said this, I believe he meant it. I believe God will bless those that bless Israel. I believe that God will curse those that curse Israel. I believe that. And I'm making up my mind, I'm going to bless Israel. I love it, and I'll support it to the very end, because it's God's chosen people. Now, let me just tell you, I'm not the extreme teaching that they believe that they're automatically saved because they're Jews. I don't believe that. They need the gospel just like anybody else. They have to turn to Christ just like anybody else. But regardless, they're the promised people. They're who gave us our Bible. They're who give us our Messiah. Now, folks, I want you to think about this for a second. All civilization, nations, and empires that have tried to destroy the Jewish people, they're all gone. Look up here a second. Ancient Egypt, gone. The Philistines, gone. Assyrian Empire, gone. Babylonian Empire, gone. Persian Empire, gone. Greek Empire, gone. Byzantine Empire, gone. The Crusaders, gone. Nazi Germany, gone. Soviet Union's gone. All of it's had nothing but proof of its own destruction. And yet, you know what? The smallest of nations with the biggest of friends. That's because God is on his side. Now, you'll remember this next time you're reading in Zechariah. And God says, he that touches you is messing with my eye. That's a very tender spot. And God says, you don't want to do that.